You are now tuned in to Go Time Dolphins with Charlie Touche and Kadeem Simmons, the Miami Dolphins podcast that's for the fans and by the fans.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's show time. Going all out when it's go time. Go. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's show time. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Go. Don't waste no time.
First and foremost, before we delve into Miami Dolphin stuff, it's only right we address a sad situation in the Miami Dolphins community. Last week, a Miami Dolphins fan passed away. Eric Carmona. It's never nice when a Dolphins fan passed away. You know, we are one big family, even if we don't always see eye to eye on certain stuff. Eric was a bit different. He was 2-on. You know, he was the voice, the face, or the faceless person behind the 2-on account, which, you know, over the course of a season, over the course of time, just grew bigger and bigger and bigger. You know, so it's a genuine shame that, you know, it's never nice when anyone passed away, but yeah, I have to send our condolences to Eric's family. I know there's a few GoFundMe's doing around. You can see them on social media. I believe Big E set one up, or Big E has shared one at least, and I believe Tyreek Hill donated something like $7,000 to it. So yeah, it's a genuine shame and a sad time in the Dolphins community.
So Andrew Van Ginkel also contributed. I think Tyreek just donated more. So Andrew Van Ginkel kind of went under the radar. A couple more people. What's his name? I think it's Kyle Striggs from Good Morning Football on the NFL
I thought
Network.
It was Pete Schrager.
Peter Striggs. There it is. So I think there is a Kyle on there though, but I think I messed up the names. But anyway, Striggs shared it on NFL Network, and it's crazy. Because Kadeem, I'm gonna be real with you. I was asked this question when I was younger. Like my youth pastor asked me, like, "Hey, are you afraid to die?" And I was confused because I wasn't afraid to die, but I was afraid of what I would leave behind. Like, dang, I'm not afraid to die, but I'm afraid of what if I don't leave nothing behind. You know what I'm saying? So then my music had to be more concentrated. Like I used to, you know, let me focus on this music thing. And then now you got a podcast and stuff like that. So in essence, it's like, I want to leave a legacy. You know what I'm saying? It's not about being afraid to die, but it's like, I want to leave a legacy. And I told y'all boys on the podcast before, when it's my time, you know, there's the uncomfortable, what am I supposed to wear to the funeral? What am I supposed to wear to the viewing and stuff? Hey, y'all boys show up in some Dolphin gear. I'm not tripping. Neither is none of my loved ones. But I'm going to be real with you, Kadeem. When you talk about a legacy, Eric Carmona was 2-on. If anyone has ever heard the terminology 2-on, and everybody's seen Dolphins Twitter and they heard about 2-on, it's gotten so big over the years that the whole like NFL community acknowledges 2-on in Dolphins Twitter. You know what I'm saying? And this dude is the creator of 2-on, and he passed away. So yeah, man, our condolences and our prayers go out to his family. But the legacy is forever. 2-on is forever. Expect us. It's Go Time Dolphins, the Miami Dolphins podcast that goes not only across the pond, but across the world. I'm your boy, Charlie Touche. I got my co-host, Kadeem Simmons, with me. It's always for the fans and by the fans. Your favorite podcast. And shout out to everybody, man. Everybody, I think Travis Wingfield, you said Big E, what's his name? Nick Hicks. Shout out to Zach from Not the Best Drawings, came on this show, actually did a piece for I just want to call him 2-on, you know what I'm saying? Like, so he did a piece, you know, a lot of people, man. Shout out to a lot of people. And for real, I could just hope that I leave a legacy that is forever when I go. But that's what's up, Kadeem. What we got for today?
There's loads. So obviously, minicamp has started. The first orange jersey wearer of minicamp was Tua, and this is mandatory minicamp as well.
So first orange jersey of mandatory minicamp.
Yeah,
was Tua.
first mandatory.
See how you
First
did
orange
that.
jersey of mandatory minicamp. But I feel it's probably best to deal with minicamp at the end of the week. Kind of talk about what we've heard, what guys have said at the end of the week, as opposed to try and do it now, that kind of stuff. There are some takeaways though. So starting center Connor Williams did not show up for mandatory minicamp. He is, I believe, in his last year of his contract, wants a new deal. So he hasn't shown up. If the Dolphins did what myself and Charlie Touche did in our mock drafts and drafted, other offensive linemen and centers and stuff like that, we won't get into that right now. But yeah, probably the biggest takeaway from what we've heard from mandatory minicamp so far, outside of Tua wearing the orange jersey. But we'll delve into that later on. Anything you want to say on that quickly?
Yeah, I mean, this is the world we live in now. We have a Super Bowl window, and it's all peaches and cream on the roster where you have all these superstars: Jalen Ramsey, Xavier Howard, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, all these superstars on your team, and you have huge expectations. Bradley Chubb, huge Teron Armstead. I don't even want to keep going, but you have huge expectations, and then all of a sudden, oh yeah, I forgot we have contracts. I forgot. Connor Williams is coming up. We didn't even mention Connor Williams' contract coming up. We mentioned Robert Hunt's contract coming up. We mentioned Austin Jackson's contracts coming up. You know what I'm saying? So now you're in a position where this whole line has to either be retained, revamped, remixed, upgraded. You have to replenish. And how do you do that with a contract, with a salary cap? So fortunately for me, that's not my job, but that's Chris Greer's job. So we'll see what happens. I think Connor is just holding out for now. I don't think this is going to carry into the season. I think this is like, I'm a vet. I'm not getting paid. I'm in the last year of my contract. I would like to have contract conversations, contract talks, but I'm not having them. So let me take a couple of days off and chill. And there's a chance I'm not here anyway next year, so it's not like I'm dirty in my face. I'm protecting my body, because if I get hurt here, because it's a business, if I get hurt here, I jeopardize my future and securing my finances. So I'm okay with stuff like this. I really am. I'm pro player. I wish we didn't have to go through this. I wish we didn't see it, and I wish people would just, I'm buying into the team. But at the same time, you got to get your money. You got to protect your assets. So I'm okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. And it sounds like Coach McDaniel knew it was coming, spoken to him. There's no bad blood, there's no beef behind it and stuff like that. I think people kind of expected Zach Sealer to do the same, but Zach Sealer showed up. Zach Sealer's working out and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I don't think Williams since had a season or anything, because this ain't the season set out basically. So he'll be back sooner rather than later.
And then straight off of that, Robert Hunt, a little opposite of Connor Williams. Robert Hunt is at camp and said he was asked about his contract, and he was like, "Yo, it's the least of my worries right now." In essence, and paraphrasing, he said, "It's the least of my worries. I'll leave that to the people up front." That's exactly what he said. So it's two different types of worlds, that different types of, I guess, strategies to handle that. And that's the way Robert Hunt is doing it, friend of the podcast. And then I have no ill will towards Connor Williams, but we do have a Super Bowl window, bro. And you would like people to get on board.
Yeah. Before we move on to the elephant in the room, Dalvin Cook, reports, or there's been rumors, stories, all that kind of stuff, that the Dolphins actively tried to trade away Cedric Wilson, but nothing came of it. Cedric Wilson's still a Miami Dolphin as of now. Where do you see Cedric Wilson's future week 1? Is he still in Miami? Yeah. What do you think?
I can probably give you a better answer 15 minutes from now when we dive into the episode. And I'll let you answer this question first, and then I'll come back and revisit my answer. But I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, I don't think it's any surprise that Cedric Wilson was actively, shopped around. Again, if you go back and watch our mock draft episodes, we kind of assumed he was gone for a fifth. So we were doing a mock draft like, well, around here we'd have an extra fifth because he trades away Cedric Wilson. And if anything, I think the shock was that the Dolphins came out of the draft and still had Cedric Wilson. That was, to me, was a bit like, oh, they've obviously picked up Chosen Anderson. Mike McDaniel was asked about Ezekama, last year's 4th round draft pick, and basically said, he has worked hard. He kind of carved out a special role in his offense. I'm sure if someone asked about Cedric Wilson, he might say something similar or might, address that. I just don't see Cedric Wilson being here long term. When I mean long term, I mean making it past the trade deadline this season. I think it could be something in which, the preseason plays out, and then, before they, like, a potential cut candidate, depending on how the cap is and stuff like that, and the dead money. But if, touch wood, someone goes down from another team, they will look at bringing in Cedric Wilson. It's essentially trying to trade him for the most value. But yeah, it's so much dependent on, I guess, the deals you bring in or the extensions you give, to your Christian Wilkins, your Robert Hunt, your Conor Williams, all that kind of stuff, the cap you have, and then I guess what happens with the man everyone's talking about at the moment, which is the Minnesota Vikings running back, Dalvin Cook.
The Dalvin Cook countdown has expired, and we are now playing Beat the Bomb. We're 6 days in, to June. We're past June 1st, and everyone's wondering what's going on, what's going to happen. How come he is still a Viking? How come he's not on another team? How come he's not a free agent? How come the Dolphins haven't done anything? You going to tell us why, Kadeem?
I don't know why. So I'll say that per Albert Breer, he said that Minnesota and the Dolphins came very close to a trade in March, and I believe it was going to be for a 5th rounder. Obviously, that didn't. So Albert Breer said that deal fell apart. The Dolphins went and brought in your boy Charlie Touche, Devon A-Chain. So it's the fact that the Dolphins and the Vikings nearly came to terms of a trade kind of, again, leans towards something happening. But obviously, the Dolphins are now in a strong position. They don't need Dalvin Cook the way they needed him back in March. Raheem Mostert, Jeff Wilson Jr. are back on a contract this season. They've drafted Devon A-Chain, so they've got a running back on the rookie terms for the next 4 years. They've also still got friend of the podcast, Myles Gaskin, and Savon Ahmed. And Savon Ahmed won the orange jersey in minicamp, I think it was last week. So the Vikings are probably sitting there going, oh, snap. Any chance of the Dolphin trading for him have basically gone out the window. And I believe per reports that the Jets, also the Paper Planes are looking to bring in Dalvin Cook. I think it's a situation where the Vikings, so this is what I believe. I believe the Vikings are hoping the Paper Planes make a trade because they know full well the second Dalvin Cook gets cut, he's going to be a Miami Dolphin. And they're going to get nothing out of it. So I think the Vikings are hoping that the Paper Planes or someone else makes a trade so they can get some draft capital back in return. If not, Cook's going to be released and he's going to be on the first plane to Miami and he'll be a Miami Dolphin.
Here's the thing. When Tyreek Hill was getting traded to the Dolphins, there was a team that was in the conversation. Do you remember who that team was?
The Paper Planes.
Paper Planes. Tyreek Hill was then asked maybe 4 months later, how close, or maybe not even 4 months later, maybe after the trade, how close were you to being a paper plane and not a Dolphin? He was like, nah, there's no way I was going there. Basically, like that, but there's no way I was going there. The past 7 days, you have heard Dalvin Cook is interested in going to the Bills and the Jets. I'm not buying neither one of them. I think it's a ploy to, you know what, hopefully pull the trigger, have the Dolphins get a little restless. Like, yo, all right, well, we can't have you go inside the division. But I think Chris Greer is a seasoned poker player, bro. I think he's so seasoned that he's playing chess, not checkers. Hear me out. The draft comes. Everyone knows that the Dolphins and the Vikings are interested in each other. All right. But it's a chess game. The Vikings don't want to pay more than they have to pay with Dalvin Cook's contract. And the Dolphins are like, yo, we will take him off your hands, but we want you to pay some of his contract. So I'm sure the Vikings are thinking, well, if that's the case, we can just hold on to him. And this is where you put Cedric Wilson in the conversation. Well, how about we give you Cedric Wilson? You guys need some receiver help. Who was the first player that the Vikings drafted this year? Addison, receiver, first round, right? So now it's like, now the Vikings are saying, well, we got a receiver in the draft, and the Dolphins do what? They draft a running back. I am anxious to know, and now I'm not just saying you just moved your draft around just for this Dalvin Cook trade. I am anxious to know, honestly, who was there in the third round when the Dolphins said, okay, this is what our big boy looks like. We're going to go Devon A-Chain. And I wonder how much of that had, Devon A-Chain will be a piece because, Charlie Touche's mantra is first round, you have to start him. Second round, you have to find a starter. And third round, you should find a starter. And then everything after that is developmental. So when you went A-Chain, it was like, oh, this is safe. This is value right here. This is a value pick. None of our running backs are even signed into next year. So he will be a key piece in our running back room moving forward. So that's good. But it also plays as, hey, Minnesota, we drafted a running back. Y'all lost. Like, we don't need Dalvin Cook anymore. So now it's like Cook, Greer is like, oh, I'm playing the game now. You see what I'm saying? All that being said, answering all your questions at the same time with the Cedric Wilson thing, if you give them Cedric Wilson, they take on $7 million worth of cap. And well, I guess they don't take it on. But Cedric Wilson is going to get paid. Miami also said, we want to do right by Cedric Wilson. He's been a quality character dude for us since he's been here. There's no loyalty from the Miami Dolphins, but he came in, was a professional. We didn't move him like a pawn if we're talking about chess. Like, nah, bro, you're respected here. We didn't know we were going to get Tyreek Hill. We don't want to uproot you and your family and move you like a pawn piece. We apologize. We want to take care of you. Right?
Yeah.
Quality organization. Shout out to the Miami Dolphins for that. So now you have this Cook, Cedric Wilson, Minnesota Vikings, Miami Dolphins conundrum. And here we are. Why isn't Dalvin Cook a free agent yet? Why isn't the Dolphins, why haven't the Dolphins traded for him yet? And I think it's because there's still conversation. They're still like, you know what? All right, well, we're playing chicken. First one to buzz loses. First one to blink loses. Eventually, Kadeem, what's going to happen is the rubber's going to have to meet the road. And Dalvin Cook is going to be a Miami Dolphin or he's going to be a Minnesota Viking. He's not going to be anything else. So either the Minnesota Vikings say, yo, we're not freeing up enough cap space or we're not attaining enough in this trade to where we shouldn't just keep him. So we're just going to hold on to him and he's just going to be our running back. But they already removed him off of social media. So they shot themselves in the foot for that move. Right. So at the end of the day, it's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of moving parts. But if you just look at it, I'm like, You got $13 more million now. As if you're Miami, the Miami Dolphins got $13 million of cap space now, post June 1st. There are things, Kadeem, that we can do to free up some cap space to make this a real comfortable acquisition. But I'll let you go because I've been running long for a second.
No, I think just on the Cedric Wilson thing as well, it's like you said, the Dolphins owe him nothing, but I do believe they probably feel bad because, like you said, Cedric Wilson was picked up in free agency to be wide receiver number 2 next to Jalen Waddle. And he comes in, it's like, yo, this is a great piece to have. We're excited. You're going to be a key part of our offense. And then Tyreek Hill came and was like, oh, snap. Like, dude, I'm sorry. And, he probably thinking, I could have gone elsewhere and been a wide receiver number 1. I came here.
Or two at least.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Cedric Wilson, right?
Yeah.
Or he could have for sure been a 2 somewhere.
Yeah. But like he might have gone the Bears, for instance, and being like,
right.
Like, so like, I came here to be a wide receiver 2, potential number 1. I could have gone elsewhere and been a guaranteed 1, and now I'm wide receiver number 3. And actually, Mike Gesicki was around, so you wide receiver number 4.
He wasn't even 4, bro, because Trent Sherfield was getting more targets than him.
So it's like I've wasted a year of my career in Miami. Yes, we made the playoffs, but I didn't really contribute that much. And some teams would be like, yeah, we're sending you to the Texans for whatever. But they're like, no, we're not like, the least we can do is find you a home which you want to go to.
Yep.
So yeah, fair play to the Dolphins for that. And yeah, but the Dalvin Cook thing, it really does become a game of chicken. It's the Dolphins, and it's funny how things play out because night 2 of the NFL draft this year, where's Dalvin Cook? He's with Cam Smith. Where does Cam Smith go? He's going to Miami. So he's like, yo, you're going to Miami? Yeah, I'll see you there. And it's that SpongeBob meme where Squidward's looking outside and seeing Patrick and SpongeBob playing. And it's Dalvin Cook in Minnesota watching Devon Achane and Cam Smith just, going up against each other in training camp, mini camp and stuff like that. So all the signs point towards Dalvin Cook becoming a Miami Dolphin. When he becomes a Miami Dolphin, no one knows. Would it be amazing if he was a Miami Dolphin right now? So we had the full offseason to learn the playbook. Listen, of course it would. When you're a running back, it's probably easier to just be like, hey, see this play? Run between the center and the guard. And if there's nothing there, just run. So it's not, obviously needs to know the verbiage, the protections, all that kind of stuff. But, the Dolphins are business as usual. They haven't stopped anything to try and get Dalvin Cook. I hardly imagine, Chris Greer is waking up every single morning on the phone or via fax machine to the Vikings saying, hey, can we get it done today? If anything, Chris Greer isn't calling the Vikings. The Vikings calling the Dolphins saying, hey, can we try and get something done? And Greer's like, yeah, we can. But now it's on our terms because you need him to come to Miami more than we need him to come to Miami.
We drafted a running back. We don't need him no more.
Yeah.
That's what they can't say.
Yeah.
What's funny? What if I told you? You ever seen ESPN 30 for 30? What if I told you? Listen, what if I told you, Kadeem? And I'm not an advocate for this. I'm not advocating for this. I'm not saying this is what we should do. I'm not saying I want this to happen. But if we wanted to, we can clear up enough cap space to bring in Hop and Dalvin Cook. And I'm not saying we should do that, but I'm saying it's possible. For everyone who says, oh, we need O-line. Yo, I'm the O-line captain of the ship. We need to bring in O-line. Now, I've been on that. We've been on that at GTD. Been on it. We need O-line. But O-line isn't available right now. It's almost like you say, like, yo, oh, let's go get Dalvin Cook. No, we need to fix the O-line. Well, all right. Well, who you want to go get help fix the O-line then? They're not available, but Cook is available. Hopkins is available. And again, I'm not beating the Hopkins drum. we have $13 million available in cap space. If the Dolphins traded Emmanuel Ogbah, saves them like $15 million in cap space, creates $2 million of dead cap though. Then pieces like Cedric Wilson would get moved for sure. You're probably getting pennies on the pound for Cedric Wilson's after that. Emmanuel Ogbah moves, Cedric Wilson moves. You're probably going to see Braxton Berrios moved. Unfortunately, the people we like Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed moved. You know what I'm saying? But you can free up some cap. And I know everyone's running around, how did you do it? Because you're the bottom three pre-June 1st, but now post-June 1st, you got $13 million worth of cap. And then you can move some more pieces around in trades, via trades. So it's possible. It's just not likely that the Dolphins go that route. Because we have a whole side of a whole offensive line that needs to be addressed as far as contracts and just upgrades. Austin Jackson is about to be a free agent, friend of the podcast. Friend of the podcast, Robert Hunt, is about to be a free agent. Connor Williams is holding out and is about to be a free agent. Yo, these are left guard is the biggest hole we have in the line, actually. So there's a lot of things you have to address before you could just say, oh, I'm gonna go get Hop and Dalvin Cook. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying you should, and I probably said that wrong, not before you do it, but at the same time, because that's what a general manager has to do. He has to look at the future as well. So you got to think about next season. What happens next season if we bring in one of these boys for more than one season? If we bring in Cook for more than 1 year, what does that contract look like? If we bring in Hopkins for more than 1 year, what does that contract look like? Because you're probably not going to be able to retain all three of those linemen or upgrade at left guard if you so desire to. So this is very tricky. You got to be careful with the way you move. I still believe Dalvin Cook is going to be a Miami Dolphin. I'm okay if he isn't, though. I want to be clear. Like, I'm okay if Dalvin Cook isn't a Dolphin, but I still believe he is a Dolphin. And something you said, Kadeem, was, it's a plug and play running back. Easiest position to learn in football is running back, in my opinion. The only thing you have to worry about at running back is learning the protections. You got to learn the protections. Make sure your quarterback don't get clapped. So that's what you really want the most, is learning the protections. If you remember, Jeff Wilson Jr. came in mid-season and looked like the starting running back. Though Jeff Wilson Jr. was in this system before, didn't take long to just catch on. I understand that. But at the same time, running backs could get moved and just plug them and play them. So I'm okay with Dalvin Cook catching on as soon as he got here. That's just where we are right now.
You mentioned the guys who need to get extended, basically. Obviously, you said, friends of the podcast, Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, Center Connor Williams, there's other guys, Christian Wilkins. We also spoke a few weeks ago about the Jarvis Landry situation, in which he probably was going to get a deal until Ryan Tannehill got injured, and then the money that was probably earmarked for him went to Jay Cutler. Is there a part of you, and if so, how big a part of you, is like, listen, we no longer need Dalvin Cook, so let's make sure we secure our own first. Let's make sure we've got, at the very least, friend of the podcast and say Christian Wilkins, or friend of the podcast Robert Hunt and Christian Wilkins, or Connor Williams and Zach Sealer. Is there a part of you which is like, now that we've got Devon A-Chain and other running backs under contract, and the guy we brought in as an undrafted free agent, the running back you like, what's his name again?
Devon A-Chain?
No, the big dude.
Oh, Chris Brooks.
Chris Brooks, yeah. We have enough to get us through the season and into the playoffs as well. Let's make sure we can extend our own, as opposed to bringing in a Cook and a Hopkins and then watching genuine starters who we need over the next few years. How about that? What'd you say?
Well, to be fair, I don't like Chris Brooks yet. I really would like to see him. I like some things that I've seen, but I can't co-sign Chris Brooks yet. But I am in favor of seeing this dude get some significant touches in preseason to prove himself. I'm in favor of that, but he doesn't have the Touche cosign yet. But I would like to see what happens there. I like what you're saying, Kadeem. I like what you're putting down. Here's my thing. Right now, running back, is more secure than maybe every position on the roster other than, well, all right, we're pretty good in DB now, pretty good at running back, and pretty good at receiver now. So I can't say that. But running back is pretty locked in. Worst case scenario, you always plan for worst case scenario. Mostert goes down, you got Jeff Wilson Jr., who could be the one. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody would argue that. Well, arguably, Jeff Wilson Jr. could be the one, that is what I'm saying. My bad. Same thing with Raheem Mostert. So if either one went down, you're okay because you still have Devon Achane, that, in my opinion, is the third running back on the roster as of today. Don't get it twisted. I just told this to LB. It would not shock me if Devon Achane won the 1 spot 4 weeks into the season. Like, he could be the RB1 by week 4. So that would not shock me. He would be, in essence, the Austin Eckler of the Miami Dolphins if Devon Achane ended up showing up. But I believe that the Dolphins don't want to put that on him. I think they're like, yo, we have a luxury of running backs right now. You can chill, Devon. We're not going to redshirt you, though. You're still going to get touches. You're still going to play kick return, punt return, stuff like that. But this is not a redshirt season. Someone goes down, yeah, there's a reason to give you more significant touches. It's just not outside the realm of possibility that he wows so many people in camp that, you know what, we thought we were going to chill on you this year, but you actually won the game. So because of all of that, I'm okay with not going Dalvin Cook. But again, you don't let a good player stop you from taking a great player. And Dalvin Cook is really good. And you wonder what the dynamic of the running back room will look like if you add Dalvin Cook to it. If you add Dalvin Cook to it, bro, I don't know, bro. Like, you add Dalvin Cook to this room, what you're gonna do next offseason is draft 6 linemen and pick up linemen in free agency because you're good everywhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's all you're gonna do. And I'm okay with that. You don't have to worry about running back for years. You're gonna have Dalvin Cook and Devon Achane in your running back room. Maybe Mostert hangs around. Maybe one of these other boys, Wilson, hang around. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But the focal point will be Cook and Achane in your future as the runner in the running back room. Still, we don't know what Chris Brooks looks like, but I would not, you know what I'm saying, say he could be anything. What I will like to touch on somebody you mentioned earlier, which was Eric Ezukanma. When I watched the Eric Ezukanma tape when he came out, I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good snag. 4th round, right?
Yes.
Pretty good snag in the 4th round. I wanted some other players that was on 2 Shades 24. I would have loved to see what David Bell looked like catching passes from Tua, but Eric Ezukanma was like, yo, this is a pretty good snag the Dolphins picked up. Why he isn't getting significant touches? I think we know why. Like, yo, you had Mike Gesicki, Jalen Waddle, Tyreek Hill. We don't even have to keep going, right? And there's a role that has to be played. Cedric Wilson is better than Trent Sherfield. He's better than Craig Craft 400. But the role that Cedric Wilson Jr. would play was not available. He would be in Waddle's role or Tyreek Hill's role. So that's why he didn't get enough snaps. So now it's like, what role are these people playing? What role will Eric Ezukanma play? What role will Devon Achane play? Because Eric Ezukanma, we don't know. I sitting here behind a microphone, I can't tell you what it looks like in practice. Not saying he looks bad, but it's like, is there a role for him? Because he might not play that Trent Sherfield, Craig Craft 400 role. He might be a ex receiver, and we already got a couple of them. We got 2 of them. So it's like, man, bro, it's an abundance of riches. So I'm so anxious to see what Eric Ezukanma look like. Matter of fact, I'm as anxious to see what Eric Ezukanma looks like as I am with Chris Brooks, because I think dude look like a piece.
I think every
I don't even know if I answered your question. My bad, bro.
No, no worries. Like I'm sure that to you over and over again, but I'll answer the question. I lean towards securing the offensive line and re-signing a Robert Hunt and a Christian
Hold on.
Wilkins.
Right. Let's go back. Right, but you can still acquire Dalvin Cook this year and secure the O-line next year. You know what I'm saying? Next offseason. But as far as giving out multiple contracts, it just gets pushed back when you did them things. You see what I'm saying? So, in my opinion, if you got a Dalvin Cook, you might not re-sign. I'm just gonna say, let's say Connor Williams or Austin Jackson, but you'll draft his replacement. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
because you're not gonna bring back. I guarantee this: Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, and Connor Williams, all three aren't coming back. It's not happening with or without Dalvin Cook. That's not happening.
So when you say all three, you mean all three as a group?
All three. Yeah, my bad. My fault.
Yeah.
All three. One of the three. I should have said all three cannot come. I guess I should say it this way. One of the three in Austin Jackson, Robert Hunt, and Connor Williams will not be able to come back. We won't be able to pay all three of them. So we will have to replace one of them in the draft. You see what I'm saying? So that's what the cap is. That's where the cap, like everyone, oh, there's no real cap. Yeah, well, all right. It's not elastic. Well, it is elastic, but you can only get away with so much. And then now the rubber meets the road with us and the O-line. And one of those three will not be coming back. So when you add a Dalvin, or when you don't add a Dalvin Cook, for you, Kadeem, if you didn't add a Dalvin Cook, you may be able to keep two of the three. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's what happens. So as of today, though, and this season, you can still add it and try to win a Super Bowl today. But we're still talking about balancing today, the Miami Dolphins today, and the Miami Dolphins of tomorrow.
And I think that's why. And again, if you watched our draft, our mock drafts and stuff like that, you saw us bring in something like an Andrew Voorhees or a center, and it's like, do you know what? Because again, we went to this draft going with the picks we had. You're not bringing in guys who are probably going to start this year because there weren't no glaring open holes. Maybe left guard is probably the only one that said, you know what, we need a left guard, but everywhere else. So we was going, okay, you see this offensive lineman who's sitting here right now, let's draft him because next year, guys like Austin Jackson, and again, even when we do this mock draft process, we didn't mention the fact that Connor Williams' contract's running out soon. So when, we're double dipping the chip at tight end or drafting offensive linemen, it's because, hey, and it's horrible, but you're kind of saying to, your Zach Sealers, your Connor Williams, this guy's here to replace you. Now, you'll play this year, but understand what we've essentially done is meant that there's no possibility of you, staying next year. Now, obviously, in an ideal world, we win a ring and they go, do you know what? I want to leave anyway because I've got my ring. I'm not going to get a bag elsewhere. So, yeah.
Bro, I got to stop you right there. That's the best case scenario. And I wish it happened last year. First of all, I wish it happens, period. But I wish it happened last year because it's easier to see your favorite players walk away if they're champions. Like, yo, Mike Gesicki, my dog got on the Mike Gesicki jersey right now, hence the curse. But Mike Gesicki walks away and it's like, dang, I wish we would have won the ship because now everyone's happy when they walk away. It's almost like, we came together, we did this. Now everybody's walking away happy. But this year, it's happening. It's going to happen every single year. You don't have the same team every single year. And now you're in this situation where it's like, yo, if you win a Super Bowl this year, Kadeem, it's not going to be that difficult to let a Christian Wilkins walk. And I understand that you might like him more than I like him for the Dolphins. We love him as a human. I understand that. And people have different ideas of how they want to build a team, but there's multiple directions you could take to get to the desired address. But if you win the Super Bowl, hey, appreciate you, Myles Gaskin. Appreciate you, Savon Ahmed. You got it done. Appreciate you, Christian Wilkins. You got it done. You still want to do right by players when they got you here. For example, Edgerrin James was the heartbeat of the Indianapolis Colts. And I want to say the year they let him go is the year that they won the Super Bowl. And it's like, dang, they wish they had Edgerrin James to be a part of it. And Tony Dungy sent him a Super Bowl ring. Like, yo, you were part of this. Thank you. He can't really say he was a part of it. He didn't really win it on that team, but I'm pretty sure he appreciated the sentiment. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that's not the case for a lot of our players, but right now, that would be the case for Mike Gesicki. Like, yo, we win this. Mike, bro, you help build what we have here. Now, you win it this year, and you let a couple loved ones walk away, like Christian Wilkins or Zach Sealer or Robert Hunt or a couple of these other boys. It's a little easier of a process, but because then now they see it, they like, yo, we're real close. I helped build this, and we're real close. And then to get let go is like, dang, you let me go, and I helped y'all build this. You feel me? So it hurts, man, but it's a business.
It is, and yeah, I just hope that the Dolphins are able to, with my naive cap on, I just hope the Dolphins are able to bring back as many guys as possible because, some of them are our favorite players. Some of them are friends of the podcast and, don't really want to be having to be going against friends of the podcast down the line and stuff like that. So, yeah, is what it is.
Hey, y'all come on over to bonus time with us. And I was thinking, we started with 2-9, right? Expect us. The Chargers are the kings of the schedule release. When the schedule release, go ahead.
So their videos, like, again, as an anime fan, the moment I see the anime video, I'm like, they won. Like, you can't get better than that. Although, did you see the Jacksonville Jaguars one?
Before we get there, the Chargers have done anime back-to-back now 2 years, and I think they won it twice, in my opinion. This year, they had Mike McDaniel in it, and on the monitor behind Mike McDaniel was 2-9. I don't know if anybody caught that, right? But so 2-9 is more than just like someone we recognize in the Dolphin community. It was like, okay, we know a lot. We could, between me and you right now, we can mention maybe 20 key pieces in the Miami Dolphins community, Dolphins Twitter. You know what I'm saying? Like Finn Kane, I Ain't Him, Big E, shout out to Same Old Dolphins, shout out to Tilly. You know what I'm saying? 2-9 is mentioned amongst them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to go from Dolphins Twitter and the Dolphins community to the NFL community, it's like, yo, he got so big that it was the people outside the Dolphin community recognized 2-9. So much so that the Chargers put him in the schedule release. And this is obviously before he passed. But I just really want to reiterate, bro, like, yeah, man, shout out to the Eric Carmona and his family, and 2-9 is forever. Expect this. We'll go to the schedule release on the other side of bonus time, Kadeem. Y'all know what time it is. Stay positive. Test negative. For Kadeem Simmons, I'm Charlie Touche. Thank you for tuning in this time. Make sure you catch us next time on Go Time.
Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time. I ain't wasting no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's showtime. Cause it's your time. Lay it on the line when it's go time. Don't waste no time. Gotta make them lose their mind when it's your time. And it's showtime. Going all out when it's go time.
Did you get a chance to see the Jacksonville Jaguars schedule release?
I remember it last year. And I remember what's your boy name? Urban Meyer was in it. at the bar with a chick. I think I can't remember all of it. What was it this year? Because I thought I seen it.
So this year they had someone come in who was a director and was like, "Hey, here's your scripts for this year."
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah, I think in terms of schedule, like and the Dolphins, they had was like a movie theater. I believe the Dolphins did.
Yeah, it was like
I think the top three. I know we didn't plan on doing this, but my top three schedule release videos were, Chargers because of anime, Jacksonville Jaguars because that script still gets me in tears, and I believe the other one was it the Titans who done the
can you name the teams?
Yes.
Yeah. So the Titans had the schedule release where the schedule release, it's on YouTube. Y'all can check them out. Where they're asking random people on the street, "Hey, here's a team logo. Do you know what team this is? What city and team it is?" And I'm sure they're probably out there for 4 hours maybe and asked over 100 people, and then they put the best bad answers together, right? So I'm pretty sure a lot of people got them, but they took the bad answers and made it into a schedule release. And shout out to the teams that seen that schedule release and changed their name on Twitter and social media. Like I want to say Atlanta was a part of it. It was like the Atlanta somethings, and then the Atlanta changed their name on Twitter. Like shout out to that. But yeah, man, that was a good one.
Yeah, so definitely shout out to that.
You know, I thought we were still gonna talk schedule, but it looked like you was about to switch it up, so I don't want to switch it up yet. I think some teams need to just stick with I think the Chargers should just stick with anime from now on. Like y'all boys, y'all did it. Y'all figured it out. Y'all cracked the code. You're the anime schedule release team, and you could switch it up every year. You know what I'm saying? Atlanta years ago, I want to say 2018, maybe 2019. They did Game of Thrones. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was a Atlanta schedule release when it had a Game of Thrones theme.
Have you seen Game of Thrones?
Bro, you ain't know I could do that.
But have you seen Game of Thrones?
I seen it, bro.
Okay, make it
sure.
Sure.
You don't remember? Matter of fact, I think it was a big deal on our podcast where I was like, "Yo, it wasn't all that."
Yeah, the last season.
No, it's not about the last season, Kadeem. It's It's about its entirety, Kadeem. Like it wasn't all that, bro. It was cool. It was cool.
It was better than Breaking Bad. Let's just leave it at that.
No, it wasn't.
Breaking Bad's awful.
Breaking Bad was better than Game of Thrones.
It just wasn't.
You
know what? We can squash this. Just watch The Wire. Please watch The Wire. Do you know what? We need to do when we go to Germany, a watch party, and we're going to watch Ace Ventura.
In public?
Public, me, you.
How you suggest we do that?
Listen, either I say a watch party, but I don't know if we rent somewhere and chuck it on, or if it's just like me, you, and the day ones, and also the fourth quarter boys. Apologies. That should be Ace Ventura. That sounds like fun.
5-yard league gonna be out there too.
5-yard, yeah. There'll be
the affiliates, all the affiliates. Check it out.
Quickly before we shoot off, for anyone who isn't aware, let them know where the Miami Heat and the Florida Panthers are as it stands at the moment.
Listen, it is nerve-wracking, bro. Like at one point, it was a feeling that this is Eastern Conference Finals in NBA and Eastern Conference Finals in NHL. And at one point, I was like, "We're gonna do this. We're gonna pull this off, and both of them are gonna be champions. And we're gonna two parades." Then the Heat started tripping. Like we had a 3-0 lead and they blew it. And then the Panthers excelled, took off, and I was on everything I love, Kadeem. I'm like, yo, I've told this to multiple people, and I believe I said this on the podcast. I believe the Panthers have a better chance of winning it all than the Heat have a better chance of winning it all. I believe that. I believe the Denver Nuggets are going to be tough. I thought the Celtics were going to be tough to close out the Celtics, but the way the Panthers are playing, like to win, I want to say 11 straight. Maybe was it 11 straight? I don't remember. It's a lot, bro. It was like, yo, the Panthers are doing something insane right now. And then the Heat lost game 1 of the NBA Finals, and it was not. I'm like, yo, this is bad. It looks like it's going to be 5-1. Like if I had a bet, it would be 5-1 Denver, 6. Is it a 4-1? I'm tripping. 4-1 Denver or 4-2 Denver. That's what it looked like to me. And in the NHL, we didn't get started yet. So I'm like, yo, Panthers are it's probably going to go back and forth, but I'm sure it's going to be close and the Panthers are going to edge it off. That's what I thought. But now, Kadeem, bro, this is where we are now. A long, long way to answer your question. It looks like the Heat have a better chance of winning it all than the Panthers do because it's 1-1 coming back to Miami for game 3. And the Panthers are down 0-2 coming back to Florida for game 3. But the 1-1 for the Heat, you can see that the Heat have it. They have the grit, the hustle, the desire. They don't give up. They're just tough. They hang around. And this is the calling card for the Miami Heat from the past 15 years. You can see it showing up. The Panthers look like the Vegas Knights are just better. They are just better than the Panthers, bro. And I hate to say it and see it because it is bad. Panthers got spanked in game 2. They got we were in there game 1 and then self-inflicted wounds halfway through the third period. Like, yo, we didn't deserve to win. But I don't know how you come back to Florida if you're the Panthers, game 3, and not show up. You have to show up game 3. Say, nah, bro, that was a fluke. We got to protect our house now. Hopefully tie it up, 2 wins in Florida. You go 2-2 and say, yeah, we're going to 7. We're back, right? That's what you hope with the Panthers. And the Heat mess around, win game 3. Denver's in trouble. Like, you win game 3, you got 1 more in Miami. You go up 3-1 against Denver. We're celebrating on someone's court, hopefully. So that's hopefully, but you know, it's the finals. I'll tell you this, bro. I've never had as much anxiety in sports ever than I do right now. Like the Dolphins don't even give me this much anxiety. Like the Dolphins, when I watch the Dolphins, it's kind of I know what to expect. I know what I'm watching. I know, okay, this is gonna happen. That's gonna happen. It's football. The parity in the league is unique than any other league, more unique than any other league. When I'm watching hockey, bro, and I'm watching a game, just one single game, not the whole picture. When I'm watching a game of hockey, bro, the anxiety level is, it's unhealthy. Like, and it's probably why I don't watch hockey on a regular basis. And it was like this during the regular season too. I'm like, yo, this is too much. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So that's where we at. Hopefully we could get it done. Bring back 2 trophies. If I'm asking for too much, can I just get one? Can I just get one?